Life has a cruel way of testing the weakest. Some break, some survive, but a rare few rise above their pain to become legends. This is the journey of Emma Carter, an orphan who knew only violence, rejection, and humiliation in her early years, yet transformed her scars into strength and her silence into a voice of power. If stories of resilience inspire you, stay until the end and subscribe our channel, because Emma's rise from darkness to power will leave you breathless. Emma Carter's earliest memory was not of a mother's embrace, nor of a father's laughter. It was the slam of a heavy wooden door. She was 4 years old when she was left at St. Mary's Orphanage for Girls. Her mother had disappeared months earlier, her father unknown, and a distant aunt had finally brought her to the gates with nothing more than a small suitcase and a paper tag around her wrist with her name written in fading ink. The orphanage stood like a fortress of neglect. Its gray stone walls were chipped, its windows dirty, its playground rusted. From the moment Emma entered, she understood. Love was not part of this place. "Stand straight," barked Ms. Grayson, the matron, her thin lips pressed tight. She looked down at Emma as if the child were a burden. "You'll follow rules here. Crying won't get you anywhere." That night, Emma lay in a bed that creaked with every breath. The blanket was thin, the room smelled of mildew, and the whispers of other children filled the dark. She whispered to herself, "Mama will come back." But as weeks turned into months, hope faded. The abuse began subtly. Ms. Grayson mocked her for being clumsy. "Can't even carry a tray without spilling. Useless girl." Soon the other children followed, repeating the words like chants in the yard. Emma was shoved, laughed at, excluded from games. Loneliness became her closest companion. When Emma was 7, she dropped a ceramic bowl in the dining hall. The crash echoed through the room. Silence followed, then Ms. Grayson's voice like a whip. "On your knees. Pick up every piece. With your hands." Blood welled in her palms as she obeyed. The sting of pain was sharp, but sharper still was the shame in her chest. She never forgot the smirk on the matron's face. Nights were the hardest. Curled beneath her blanket, Emma bit her lip to keep from crying out loud. Tears stained her pillow as she whispered promises to herself. "One day, I'll leave. One day, they'll see me." But as a child, dreams were fragile. The world outside felt unreachable, and inside the orphanage, every day seemed like proof that she was nothing more than the useless girl Ms. Grayson claimed. Emma's life shifted the day she discovered the orphanage basement. At 10 years old, she had been sent to fetch cleaning supplies. Instead, curiosity drew her toward a wooden door tucked behind the stairwell. It creaked open to reveal shelves of old, dusty books. Most of the children ignored the place. To them, books were boring. To Emma, they became treasures. She began sneaking down whenever she could, sitting cross-legged on the cold floor, flipping through pages of forgotten stories. One afternoon, a voice startled her. "You like to read, don't you?" Emma looked up, frightened, to see Mr. Rowland, a retired schoolteacher who volunteered twice a week. His hair was white, his glasses thick, but his smile was gentle. "I'm sorry," she whispered, clutching the book. "I didn't mean." "No need to be sorry," he interrupted kindly. "Books are meant to be read." "What's your name?" "Emma," she said softly. From that day on, Mr. Rowland made it his mission to guide her. He noticed her hunger for knowledge, the way her eyes lit up when he explained a new concept. Unlike others, he never called her useless. He called her bright. One day he handed her a tattered copy of Jane Eyre. "This," he said, "is the story of a girl not so different from you. She was unwanted too, but she grew strong. Remember, Emma, your past doesn't decide your future." Emma devoured the book. She clung to Jane's struggles, her resilience, her defiance against cruelty. For the first time, Emma saw herself not as a victim but as someone who could fight back, even if only silently, through perseverance. Other children mocked her still. "Bookworm, orphan nerd," they sneered. Emma lowered her gaze, but inside, she whispered a vow. "Someday, I'll be more than you can ever imagine." It was the spark that kept her going. At 16, Emma aged out of the orphanage system. She was given a garbage bag with her clothes, a bus ticket, and a curt farewell from Ms. Grayson. "Try not to embarrass yourself out there." The city was a jungle of noise and indifference. Emma rented a tiny room in a run-down building, its walls thin enough to hear every argument of her neighbors. She worked at a diner, scrubbing tables, washing dishes, smiling through exhaustion. The pay barely covered rent, but Emma saved every coin she could. By night, she studied borrowed textbooks, scribbling notes by the dim light of a single bulb. She skipped meals, endured hunger, and patched holes in her shoes with tape. One evening, a customer sneered as she wiped his table. "Girls like you don't go far. Scrub hard, you'll be doing this forever." Emma met his eyes for the first time. "Then I'll scrub so well," she said quietly, "that the world remembers my name." Inside, she was trembling. But she meant every word. She enrolled in night classes, struggling to keep up with students who had private tutors and supportive families. Professors often noticed her determination. One drive, Hayes, pulled her aside after class. "You're working twice as hard as anyone else, Emma. Don't stop. You have the fire." That encouragement carried her through sleepless nights. Her body was weary, but her mind burned with ambition. Emma's scholarship to Westbridge Business College felt like a miracle. She held the acceptance letter in her trembling hands, unable to believe that a girl who once bled on the orphanage floor was now given a chance at higher education. But her excitement quickly met reality. On her first day, she entered the lecture hall wearing a second-hand blazer 2 sizes too big. Around her, students carried sleek laptops, designer bags, and the easy arrogance of those born into comfort. When Emma sat down, a girl behind her whispered loudly, "Did the janitor's kid get lost?" Laughter rippled through the rows. Emma lowered her eyes, cheeks burning. She wanted to disappear, but then she remembered Mr. Rowland's words, "Your past doesn't decide your future." She straightened her back, opened her notebook, and wrote every word of the lecture as though her life depended on it. While others partied, Emma worked nights at the diner and studied until dawn. Her tiny apartment became a battlefield of sticky notes, scribbled ideas, and stacks of books. She drank endless cups of cheap coffee to stay awake. One evening, after class, Professor Allen approached her. "You ask questions others don't even think about," he said. "Where does that come from?" Emma hesitated, then replied softly, "From wanting to understand what I was always told I never could." Her professors began to notice her relentless drive. She wasn't just another student. She was a storm of determination disguised in thrift store clothes. During her second year, Emma landed an internship at Harrison and Company, a struggling logistics firm. For most interns, it was just a line for their resumes. For Emma, it was survival. She arrived early, stayed late, and handled tasks others deemed beneath them. She reorganized messy filing systems, volunteered for projects no one wanted, and quietly observed how decisions were made. One evening, as she reviewed expense reports, she noticed a recurring error: duplicate payments that cost the company thousands. She drafted a detailed report and nervously presented it to the CEO, Mr. Harrison. He raised an eyebrow. "You're just an intern. How did you catch this?" Emma swallowed hard. "Because I've learned to look at what others ignore." The next week, she was asked to assist in meetings. For the first time, she felt like her voice mattered. That internship became her first real breakthrough, the moment Emma realized she wasn't destined to follow. She was meant to lead. The climb was brutal. After graduation, Emma took a junior analyst position at a mid-sized firm. She worked in a cubicle the size of a closet, analyzing spreadsheets until her eyes blurred. Male colleagues often dismissed her ideas. Senior managers spoke over her in meetings. Once, when she suggested a new marketing approach, a superior smirked and said, "Not bad, for the orphan girl." The words stabbed, but Emma had learned long ago that pain could either break you or sharpen you. She chose the latter. She studied not just her job but every aspect of the company: finance, operations, strategy. She arrived before sunrise, stayed until the cleaning staff came at night, and consumed business journals the way she once devoured novels in the orphanage basement. Gradually, people noticed. When projects succeeded because of her insights, even skeptics had to acknowledge her. She was promoted to senior analyst, then operations manager. But success came with enemies. Some resented her rapid rise. Rumors spread that she was too ambitious, too cold, not a team player. Emma endured it all in silence, letting her results speak louder than gossip. At 32, She was offered the role of Director of Operations at Trident Global, a multinational firm on the edge of collapse. Many thought she was too young, too inexperienced. But Emma saw it differently. "They underestimate me," she told herself. "That has always been my advantage." Her first board meeting was intimidating. A long table surrounded by men in expensive suits, their eyes sharp with skepticism. Emma walked in wearing a tailored navy suit she had saved for months to afford. She carried no arrogance, only conviction. When the chairman asked how she planned to rescue the sinking company, Emma stood tall. "Not by patching holes in a broken ship," she said firmly, "but by building a new one while steering this one safely to shore." The room fell silent. Some scoffed, others leaned in, but no one could deny she spoke with authority. Over the next year, Emma restructured operations, cut unnecessary costs, and implemented strategies that revived profitability. Employees who once doubted her began to respect her. She became known not just as a director but as a visionary leader. One winter evening, Emma returned to her city for a conference. On impulse, she asked her driver to make a detour. The orphanage still stood, weathered and gray. Children played in the yard with the same weary eyes she once had. Emma's chest tightened. Inside, she was greeted by an older Ms. Grayson, now stooped and frail. For a long moment, the two women stared at each other. "You, Emma," Ms. Grayson whispered, disbelief in her eyes. "The director they talk about on the news." Emma's lips curved into a calm smile. "Yes, the useless girl you once mocked." Ms. Grayson's face reddened. She muttered excuses, but Emma wasn't there for revenge. She had outgrown bitterness. Instead, she announced her plan to fund a complete renovation of the orphanage. New facilities, trained caretakers, scholarships for the children. When one of the little girls clung to her coat and whispered, "Thank you," Emma felt something she had never felt in childhood, belonging. That night, as she left the orphanage, snow falling gently around her, she realized she had not just escaped her past, she had rewritten it. Emma went on to establish the Carter Foundation, dedicated to supporting orphans, abuse survivors, and disadvantaged youth. Scholarships bore her name. Mentorship programs flourished under her vision. In keynote speeches, she often told her story, not for pity, but for power. "I was told I'd never be wanted," she would say, her voice steady. "But I learned that the world wants leaders who rise from struggle. Scars don't make you weak. They make you unbreakable." Her story spread worldwide, inspiring thousands. She became not just a director but a symbol of resilience, a reminder that broken beginnings don't mean broken futures. Emma Carter's life is proof that the cruelest trials can forge the strongest steel. From an unwanted orphan to a powerful director, she carved her destiny with grit, courage, and relentless faith in herself. If her journey moved you, share it, because somewhere, another child is whispering into the dark, "One day, I'll leave. One day, I'll be someone."